Ethan hadn't planned to stop at the small grocery store that afternoon. He usually shopped closer to home, somewhere quieter, somewhere faster. But his daughter Lily had texted him from school reminding him they were out of milk and cereal, and this place happened to be on his route back from work. He was a single dad of 8 years now. Life had taught him efficiency. Get in, get out, no distractions. The store was busy, the air filled with the soft hum of refrigerators and the murmur of tired shoppers. Ethan grabbed a basket and moved through the aisles, mentally ticking off items. Milk, bread, apples, Lily's favorite chocolate cereal. He was waiting in line when he noticed her. She stood 2 people ahead of him, a young mother holding a toddler on one hip while guiding an older boy with her free hand. Her coat looked thin for the season. The toddler's cheeks were red from the cold, and the boy clutched a small toy car with a cracked wheel. On the counter in front of her were a few basic items: rice, eggs, a loaf of bread, powdered milk, and a small packet of diapers. Nothing extra, nothing indulgent. Ethan barely registered her at first. Everyone had their own story, their own struggle. But then he saw her open her purse. She pulled out a handful of coins and a few wrinkled bills. She began arranging them carefully on the counter, lips moving as she counted. Once, twice. Her shoulders sank. "I'm sorry," the cashier said gently. "You're short by $4.70. The woman swallowed hard. She glanced down at her children, forcing a small smile. "Okay," she said softly. Can we take off the diapers?" The cashier hesitated. "That brings it closer, but you'll still be short." Her fingers trembled as she rearranged the coins. She removed the apples next. The little boy looked up at her. "Mom, I'm hungry." Something in Ethan's chest tightened. The woman closed her eyes for a moment, steadying herself. When she opened them again, they were glossy but determined. "Then just the rice and bread," she whispered. The toddler began to fuss. Ethan felt a wave of memories crash over him. Late nights after Lily's mom passed away, stretching paychecks, pretending he wasn't exhausted or scared. He remembered counting pennies too, remembered pretending everything was fine when it was. He shifted his weight, gripping the handle of his basket. He told himself it wasn't his business. But her pain was quiet, dignified, and somehow louder than any cry. "Excuse me," Ethan said, stepping forward. The woman turned, startled. "I've got it," he said, already pulling out his card. "Please, let her keep everything." Her eyes widened. "Oh no, you don't have to." "I want to," he replied. The cashier nodded and rang up the full amount. The woman stood frozen as Ethan paid. When the receipt printed, she pressed a hand to her mouth. "Thank you," she whispered. "You don't understand how much this means." Ethan smiled gently. "I think I do." She introduced herself as Maya. Her children were Noah and Emma. They stood awkwardly for a moment near the exit, Maya juggling bags and kids. Ethan helped carry some of them to her car. Before she left, Maya turned back. "I don't even know how to repay you." He shook his head. "You don't have to, just take care of them." She nodded, blinking back tears. As Ethan watched her drive away, he didn't realize that this small act would change all their lives. Ethan tried to move on. He went home, cooked dinner, helped Lily with homework, listened to her talk about a science project. Life continued as it always did. But Maya stayed on his mind. Not in a dramatic way, just quietly, the way some moments linger longer than they should. A week later, he saw her again. This time it was at a community center. Lily had dragged him there for a volunteer event at her school. Ethan was stacking boxes of donated clothes when he heard a familiar voice thanking someone nearby. He turned. Maya was there, helping organize food parcels. Her kids sat on folding chairs coloring. She noticed him at the same time. Her face lit up. "It's you." They talked while sorting cans and boxes. Maya told him she'd recently left an abusive relationship and was trying to start over. She worked part-time cleaning offices at night while her neighbor watched the kids. "It's not much," she said, shrugging, "but it's something." Ethan admired her strength. He told her about Lily, about losing his wife years earlier, about learning to cook and braid hair and be both parents at once. They didn't exchange dramatic promises, just phone numbers. Over the next few weeks, their paths crossed more often, sometimes intentionally, sometimes by coincidence. Ethan helped Maya fix a broken headlight. She baked him banana bread from overripe fruit. Lily played with Noah while Emma toddled around chasing bubbles. Slowly, trust grew. One evening, Maya admitted she'd been denied a better-paying job because she didn't have reliable childcare. Another time, Ethan noticed her shoes had worn through soles and quietly bought a new pair, leaving them on her porch with a note that simply said, "From a friend." She cried when she found them. Ethan didn't feel like a hero, he just did what felt right. And Maya did the same in her own way, listening when Ethan talked about his fears of failing Lily, reminding him that he was already doing more than he realized. Months passed. Ethan helped Maya update her resume. He introduced her to a friend who managed a small daycare. She landed a daytime job at a medical office with steady hours and benefits. The first paycheck she showed him, hands shaking with pride. "I did this," she said. "No," Ethan corrected gently, "you did." Their relationship deepened, not rushed, not forced. The kids grew comfortable together. Lily started calling Maya Miss M, and Maya's children followed Ethan around like he was part of their world. Because he was. A year after that day in the grocery store, Maya stood in a small apartment kitchen, stirring soup while sunlight spilled across the floor. Life wasn't perfect. Money was still tight sometimes. The kids still got sick. Ethan still worried too much. Maya still carried scars from her past. But they had stability now. Laughter, shared dinners, movie nights on the couch with blankets and popcorn. Ethan had never expected to fall in love again. He'd closed that chapter in his heart years ago. But love doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it comes quietly, through small kindnesses, through late-night talks, through watching someone rise after being broken. One evening, after the kids had gone to sleep, Ethan and Maya sat on the balcony. "I think about that day a lot," Maya said softly. "The grocery store." She nodded. "I was so embarrassed. I felt like I'd failed as a mother." Ethan reached for her hand. "You were doing everything you could. That's not failure." She leaned into him. "If you hadn't stepped forward." He shook his head. "Someone else would have." Maya smiled sadly. "Maybe, but it was you." She told him that after he paid for her groceries, she'd sat in her car and cried for 10 minutes, not because of the money, but because someone had seen her, truly seen her. Ethan thought about how close they both had been to giving up in different ways, how fragile moments could become turning points. A few months later, Ethan proposed with a simple ring and a nervous smile. Lily helped plan it. Noah held the box. Emma clapped when Maya said yes. Their wedding was small. Just family, close friends, and kids tossing flower petals down a community center aisle. There were no luxury decorations, no expensive catering. Just love. Years later, Ethan would sometimes tell their story when people asked how they met. He'd say she was counting pennies. And Maya would add, he saw my pain. They taught their children that kindness matters, that strength comes in many forms, that sometimes all it takes to change a life is stepping forward when someone is hurting. Because on an ordinary afternoon, in an ordinary store, a single dad had chosen compassion over convenience. And $4.70 had become the beginning of forever.